Greetings and salutations, everyone. It's Mecha GM, and I'm back and joined by my good friend and co-host Eric Carlson and Gav Leaf. How are you gentlemen doing tonight?
Tired, but otherwise
Yes.
fine.
That is a sort of universal state of being, really, kind of, at this point.
A universal state of exhaustion,
Yeah.
both metaphorically, physically, and
And
emotionally.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so we're covering Gav's most recent series selection, The Faraway Paladin. Now, we picked this, I think Gav picked this one because we started watching this sort of our we often do a warm-up episode of something to watch before we get into the watching it for the week. And this was ours for a while, and we kind of fell off it for some reason. I think we just ran out of, we needed more time to watch other stuff, I think.
You know what it was? We as the premise of this show is the fact that we're like the older generation watching anime kind of sort of situation. Yep. Yeah, I think we just got so old that it's like we can't watch as many episodes anymore. Because we used to watch like 10 episodes of something a night, and then it was like, can we just watch the bare minimum 6 and get on with it?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. We're old men.
We are.
We're old. We have time. We have things to do during the day.
We are old. We are old. On the internet. We are definitely old men.
We are ancient on the internet.
Yes, we are.
We come from a time before the internet.
So
from a different world, you might say.
Yeah. So
this show's an isekai.
It is technically an isekai, yes. And that matters in a couple of places.
I've come from an age when we recorded music via analog using magnetic tape.
Yep.
In a cassette.
Vinyl masters, my man.
Yep. We now speak of the old magics.
Oh, we do. Yeah, we remember when vinyls were sort of like, just commonplace and not the hoity-toity thing that,
You had to go into a shop and actually used to like leaf through the records to find the one you want.
Yep. I mean, there's shops that still do that now, but
yeah, but they're for hipsters.
Large, kind of, and audiophiles. Which is a fancy way of saying hipster.
Yes.
Sorry, Ben.
It doesn't sound right unless you've got that audio crackle in the background of the inefficient recording material.
Now, I will say, high-quality vinyl sounds really good. Like, legitimately.
High-quality vinyl sounds really good. I'll agree with that. And some types of music, like, that kind of crackle just makes it feel more so.
Old smoke room jazz.
Well, yeah, if you want to listen to something that sucks. I was more thinking punk.
Oh... that's a debate for another day. We don't have a music podcast.
We do not have the time for music debates.
No.
I was thinking old school.
This will basically revolve around them ganging up on me and using all sorts of fancy music terms. We're just going, nope, sucks.
I was thinking more along like old acoustic blues, but that's just me.
Yep.
Like Robert Johnson. Like Robert Johnson doesn't work without the crackle.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
At any rate, we're covering The Faraway Paladin, which is technically an isekai. And it really matters in one bit, honestly. Because otherwise, dear Lord, the main character's reaction is much less tolerable in that situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
I honestly forgot this is an isekai 99% of the time.
It's really largely irrelevant. It matters in a couple spots, but that's about it. It matters for the world building.
If you watched our episode on what was the name of the show? The Princess and the something.
Yeah, the Genius Princess and Magical Lady Revolution thingy. I forget the name. It was
the thing that wasn't a revolution at all.
Yeah,
yes.
but it was definitely an isekai because she knew what a toaster was.
To be fair,
I had similar.
To be fair, it mattered in a couple of situations like this one, but very different types.
I know the one where you could have simply just removed it and it wouldn't have been a big deal.
It would have been a huge deal, but it did matter. It did matter in my opinion, but we discussed that in that episode, so
yeah.
Yeah. Admittedly, this is like season 1, so it could come into play further down the line, but
yeah, as I said, it matters for the world building, and it matters for a couple of the what is his name? Will's reaction, how he reacts to certain things.
Yeah,
it largely like the way he reacts to certain situations is partially informed by his past life, basically.
Yeah,
which sucked, like a lot.
Yeah, the driving factor is he remembers being incredibly lonely and
Like incredibly lonely.
resolving to do everything he can to be outgoing and find friends.
I mean,
and,
also like his life was largely not just lonely, but like a failure in like every way.
Yeah.
And like he doesn't really he largely considered himself not really a worthwhile human being.
Yeah.
And he very much wants to be one now.
Mm-hmm. But also at the same time, the writer wants him to be well, not uneducated, but a hillbilly bum, which is like the second he gets to the big city, he's amazed at a gas street lamp and doesn't know what it is. It's like, all right, sure.
I mean, to be fair, if you grew up in modern Tokyo, you probably wouldn't know what a grass street light is either.
Yeah, but it just seems such a weird thing to point out. It's like, I don't know. Okay, I'm nitpicking there, but
So
just to get it out of my system, basically, for me, this came along at a time where Isekai was the tag that you put on your show so that everyone watched.
Yep.
So it hit the.
So you got funding. This show did not get a lot of funding.
No.
Let's go put that out there now.
I just feel, and I've said this, and I've thought about it since we last watched the last episode. I think there's a lot of production bait in this. Like it's got all the keywords and all the tags, so that when you hit the search bar, it pops up.
It might. I don't know.
But I don't think a lot of it's earned. If you know what I mean. It's just,
I don't know. I don't know. I think part of it is. I mean, I don't think it's. I don't think it's. If it is, it didn't work well. Because it's not one of the more talked about shows, shall we say?
No. But between the isekai tag that doesn't really matter, the incredible fucking and not to spoil or anything, but the shall we say the difference in quality after the first few episodes?
Yeah.
Yes.
The yaoi bait that's in there but not obvious, but then is obvious.
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff. Like
no, there is, but that's sort of. I think it's less less endemic of like tag searching and more just how light novels are written.
Yeah, could be that.
It's based on a light novel series.
Yeah,
but yeah. So the sort of basic structure of the show is the first 4 episodes or first 3 episodes or something along those lines. The first chunk is largely Will growing up. Will is born into this new world and is adopted. Is found abandoned and is adopted by 3 former heroes.
Yes, former being the operative word.
Blood, Mary, and Gus. They are all undead.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mary is basically a mummy. Blood is a skeletal knight, and Augustus is a wizard ghost. Or sorcerer ghost.
Yeah. So you got your
and Mary's
got
a priest.
Mummy, you got your mummy, you've got your white, and you've got your whatchamacallit, ghost.
Yeah.
Phantom, whatever.
Vector, whatever you want to call it.
You can't punch him unless you're a high enough level monk.
Yeah, exactly. Or a paladin with a that's the case
or
maybe.
A cheating paladin.
Yes. So they all 3 of them, like Gus is the grumpy one. And they're all living in this sort of very clearly ruined and abandoned city, and there are no other living beings really within sight. I think there might be like animals in the woods, and that's kind of it.
Yeah.
Now, there are things that wander the city, largely demons and undead.
Yeah. Mindless undead.
Yes.
Specifically.
There's some there are some undead, some demon-y things that look undead but aren't actually undead, they're demons. Yeah. They're intelligent. This comes up later. So the long and short, they've adopted him, and basically Mary and Blood are basically Will's parents, and Gus is his, crotchety yet likable old uncle, right?
Yeah.
Or grandpa, one of the two. Definitely a bit crotchety though. And they, Blood teaches, Will how to be a warrior. Gus teaches him magic, and Mary teaches him religion and morality. She's a priest.
Yeah.
Also, she teaches them like, a lot of basic, like how to survive as a person stuff.
Yeah. The day to day, how to cook, how to clean, how to wash yourself, blah blah blah. The general.
It's very much a standard dynamic of mother, father, teacher. Slash favorite uncle.
Yep.
Mary teaches him all the indoor stuff. Blood teaches him all the outdoor stuff, like hunting, killing, fighting, blah blah blah.
And Gus teaches him magic and gambling.
Magic. Yes.
And economics.
And and just more academic shit in general.
Yeah. All three of them are actually quite likable, honestly.
Yeah. And I mean, it's like, considering the status of, the fact that they're all three are undead, that he grows up being relatively well balanced. The isekai bit drops in a little bit there when, like, as a baby, he realizes that these are three undead monsters, and he's crying and screaming like a baby would. Except Mary picks him up, and she's kind of warm and nice, and oh, okay, maybe this isn't so bad.
Yeah.
End of isekai.
I mean, as I said, we get glimpses back to his previous life, which, as I said, sucks.
Yeah.
His parents died when he was young.
I don't remember them at all. I honestly don't remember them at all.
It's not, again, for the most part, not that important. Also, it was a while ago.
No. Yeah.
And it's most of the flashbacks to his previous life are short and at the beginning of the series.
Mm.
Yes. And we get a lot, there's a lot of world building stuff they just sort of discussed during these episodes. Like, we get a lot of finding out about the pantheon of deities. Eventually we find out why the city's abandoned and filled with undead and demons.
And what the deal was with our free parental figures.
Yes. And, it turns out there was a demon lord, and he was on the way to conquer everything, and our heroes, the three big heroes, tried to stop him, and managed to steal him, but died. Also, the god of undeath showed up, and made them a deal.
Yeah.
You guys become undead, and become members of my undead army, and, this will enable you to watch over the seal of the Demon King so he doesn't bust out, because I don't like this guy either. He gets in the way of my plan for, making everything in the world undead so nothing can ever die, and nobody will ever die, and everything will be the same forever.
Yeah.
His name is Stagnate.
His name is Stagnate, and he is basically stagnation incarnate.
Literally, he's legitimately a really interesting concept for God of Undeath. Like,
yes.
Honestly, the actual, at least the two that we actually directly, experience in this show. The actual two gods
interact with.
Yeah, that's the one. Interact with. Yeah, they're actually. It's a very interesting pantheon. From those two.
I think the actual pantheon is a really they do some really interesting sort of world building with the religious stuff they do. Like, there's some really interesting stuff about Mary, the goddess Mary follows.
Matter.
Matter, yeah. Who's sort of the Earth Mother, basically. And
they're very much like god of like hearth and home and healing and whatnots.
Yeah.
As well as like more general earth nature stuff.
Yeah, earth and nature stuff. And I forget who Blood and I think Blood follows. Yeah, he follows the god of fire, if I remember correctly, fire and technology.
There's one there's one called Volt. I remember that, but I can't.
Yeah, I think Volt is the Zeus analogy. He's the father figure. Mater is the mother figure. The others are all like children of
crazy uncles.
I'm looking this up now. Okay, yeah, he did follow Blaze, who's the god of fire and technology, and Gus followed Whirl, the god of wind, to live his life the way he chose to and enjoy it. Which, if you look at, you think he's like the god follows the god of magic. No. And, like, you listen to Gus talk long enough, yeah, no, that tracks.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically, so they made a deal with Stagnate so they can make sure the Demon King, and basically once their attachment to like either the Demon King is dealt with or they lose interest in that, they basically turn themselves over to Stagnate permanently
and become actual undead. Yeah.
um
Well, yeah. Mind
Yeah, I
undead.
mean they're still undead, but yeah, like lose their free will.
Yep.
Yeah.
And basically they spend a lot of time, they train Will up to be largely to be a badass hero, largely so he can like go off on his own and survive in the world and leave them behind, because they know he can't stay here forever.
Right.
And Gus has a serious worry that their attachment to him might end up being a problem. It does. Well, kind of. It also is what sort of saves them in the long run. Well, it's what enables them to actually.
It's what. So, our three parental figures are they're undead. Yep. They do not change anymore. They are incapable of growth, except in taking care of Bill, which is his name. His actual name is William, but I'm calling him Bill. They do grow and evolve as emotionally as people.
Yep.
And sort of reconnect with the kind of people they once were.
Yep.
Because, caring for someone will do that for you.
Yep.
But yeah, the problem with it is that he basically becomes their connection to the world. They were there to look after the Demon King seal, but then he became the more important thing. And
well, even then, like it's implied that their connection to the Demon King and watching over it was starting to wane anyway, because they were bored as fuck.
Right.
Yeah.
Like they've been doing this for hundreds of years, and it was just nothing had changed. They really had nothing, but they couldn't get drunk, they couldn't eat, they couldn't like learn new skills or practice or get better at their various specialties, or they just were stuck, literally in every sense of the word. And when you do that long enough, you start to stop giving a shit about everything. They were effectively depressed.
So when Will turned 15, which means is the age of adulthood in this world.
Yep.
He had his big final last duel with Blood, which Blood technically wins. He's now no longer need to raise him.
Blood's a cheating fucker.
Well, yeah. And they
quite sturdy.
They no longer need to raise Will, and their attachment to Will is sort of effectively kind of broken. This is when Stagnate shows up to claim them. Now, Gus has been planning for this.
Yeah, Gus has been waiting. Gus has had a plan. Gus decided the best thing to do when Stagnate showed up, because when the gods show up, they invest a part of themselves into an avatar. It's not all of themselves, but it's the part that can most easily interact with the world directly, obviously. But if you kill it, then they can't interact directly with the world for, I think it's 101 years or something.
So it's at least 15 years or something like that. But
yeah, 10 years. I remember it was
10 years. Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
I
something like that. Yeah.
So Gus basically drops the magical equivalent of attack nuke on his head as soon as she shows his face. This works great. Except Stagnate kind of it was expecting treachery and had divided his essence into 2 avatars.
Mm-hmm.
And Gus had already blown his wad.
Yep. And everything looks really bad for the heroes. But Will basically, Will actually steps up, and so the big thing they point
uses tricks he learned from all of them
and does pretty well, but again loses, but impresses Stagnate enough that Stagnate's like, dude, you're a badass, why don't you join me too? Now part of this is a distraction. He's sort of distracting Will from what he really wants. But one of the big things in this is that one of the things you do when you become an adult is to pick which god you're going to devote yourself to, and if you're truly impressed, like if you truly connect with them, they'll give you some sort of blessing, which depending on how powerful it is, the more powerful the blessing, the more sort of doomed you are to.
The more hold they have over you.
Yeah.
It's very much a geese.
Yes.
The stronger the blessing, the more the more the god invests in you, the more influence they have over you, and the more fucking up that promise effectively backlashes against you.
Yeah. So Will is freaking out, trying to figure out how to possibly you can do anything to save anything like this, and he realizes so he ends up connecting with Gracefield, who's the goddess of death.
Yeah.
And light.
Stagnate is the god of death, and stagnate is the god of undeath and stagnation, and whatnot. While Gracefield is the god of the cycle and light, and also death, obviously.
Yeah. She's legit. She's really interesting on as a concept. Like she's a really well executed death god. I like her a lot.
Yes. Her worship has also been on the decline for, well, even before the our three parental figures were doing their thing and had flesh and blood and breath in their lungs and whatnot.
And we get to see a bit of like her domain of what the cycle, and it's not just like the cycle of lives and souls within this world. It's cycle lives between all worlds.
Yeah.
Which is why she really doesn't like stagnate.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're trying to literally hold on to souls, and like he wants their bodies to die, their souls to stay there, and everything just to stay the same. And she's like, "No, dude, you need to put them back into the river, and they need to go around." And it turns out that this is why Will has a bit of knowledge, because whether it's done deliberately by her, he died in another world and found his way through the cycle to this one.
And so he had a glimpse. He now remembers seeing her when he died before, and so he basically devotes himself to Gracefield, and she gives him a pretty oomphy blessing.
Well, I mean, to be fair, he does devote his entire life to basically doing what she does on the mortal plane, essentially. Freeing souls, sending them back into the cycle, and opposing stagnate, and literally dedicate his entire life to that.
Yeah,
that
which
cause.
He was going to do anyway. It was very much like...
Yeah.
It was very much, so I got to do this thing I was already going to do. Yeah, but you can't stop doing it. I mean, I wouldn't feel good about myself if I did. All right, cool. Go for it.
All right. So, what were we talking about? Oh, right, Gracefield.
Gracefield, yes.
Gracefield, stagnate, and Will choosing Gracefield as his deity that he follows.
Yeah.
And so he gets her blessing, and he confronts Stagnate again. And we forgot to mention he has a sword Blood gave him, which is
Sword gave him the okay, don't use this ever because the cost for using it is too high. Sword.
Yeah.
If you've ever read Elric, the Elric books, it gave him Stormbringer.
It's Stormbringer, yeah. The big thing about it is it's the Demon King's former sword.
Yeah.
So the main thing it does, there are two main things it does. Number one, it heals you for the amount of damage you deal to other people. Number two, it can actually injure gods.
Yeah, it's it's Stormbringer.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Yeah. Exactly.
It eats souls, feeds them to you to make you stronger, and can kill gods. It's Stormbringer.
It very much is.
It also has a bit of a one of those, the standard boilerplate corrupt your own soul kind of.
It makes you
demon,
lose
you know.
control, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
feeding on other souls will
and
do
you
that,
become
but, you know.
addicted to it, and you become addicted to it and want to keep using it because it's Stormbringer.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
not just for albino elves anymore.
So he saves them. Well, he saves them from basically their souls are freed from stagnate now.
From stagnates.
Yeah.
Thing. I will say,
Stagnate no longer has a hold on them, and they return to the cycle.
yeah, I will say there is it is an amazing scene where basically Will decides, okay, fine, I've made my choice as to who I'm. Because the original fight is a case of he's using everything that the three have taught him, as well as Stormbringer, to deal with the
Avatar of Stagnate.
The Avatar of Stagnate and all the undead minions that he's summoned.
Right,
yeah. That's cool. That's really impressive. Basically something along the lines of, that would be really cool if I wasn't just a distraction.
Oh, fuck.
And he realizes, bolts back, and says, right, fine, versus like the main force that attacking these three, and he's like, fine, I've decided I want to make my pledge. What god's going to hear your pledge at this time? You're literally fighting one of our own. How about your antithesis, bitch?
He's like, and Stagnate like,
oh yeah, she fucking would.
It really is. You should have seen that one coming, buddy.
Yep.
But who would swear to themselves to Gracefield in this day and age?
Yeah.
Right, someone who's not from this world. Fuck.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, fucks off Stagnate for the next decade at the very least. And then breaks the cycle and releases their souls from his deal.
Now, unfortunately, this does mean that Blooded Mary will die.
Yeah, he was keeping them alive. It was his power keeping them going.
No one bound to them. That means they're no longer, undead. They're no longer undead, which means they die.
Yeah.
Gus managed to hang around. I forget exactly how he pulls that off, but
he still has a connection.
Trickery and fuckery.
Oh, that's right. He still has a connection to keeping an eye on the Demon Lord. That's right.
Yeah, his whole thing is he still wants to keep an eye on the Demon Lord seal, but Blood and Mary were a little bit more carefree, essentially.
Yeah, they're basically like, I am so fucking done with this bullshit.
Yeah.
And Gus like, totally cool.
They found purpose in parenthood, but Gus is like, well, no, there's somebody needs to stop behind and do this.
Yeah.
And so basically,
and I've got another decade before Stagnate comes back to try to claim me again. So be good at your job.
And since I've got all this money, and I had all this money, and I can't really use it for anything, so I'll loan it to you. Loan? How am I going to pay you back? Do your job, kid. And so Will sets off on his big adventure.
Yes.
And that's sort of that's the first 4 episodes, and it looks pretty. The art styles. I love the art style of the show overall. Like,
yep, I believe they presented that as a movie originally as well.
Probably, I would not be surprised if they did. We will say we really noticed after that first introductory chunk that there was a step down in animation quality for the show.
Oh, good lord, yes.
Oh, Jesus Christ! It becomes a slideshow.
It's like they got past the 3-episode test, the 4-episode test in this point, and went, right, that's everyone hooked. Down tools. That we I don't want to just like spend an entire the rest of this episode just like ragging on this thing, but we got to the point where we were actively noticing the number of like camera pans past a still photo to make it look like it's moving, or where there's nothing going on in the frame at all, including in a busy, crowded street.
Yeah.
Nothing is moving.
The thing that really stood out to me.
Sorry, the lip flaps are moving.
Yeah. The thing that really stood out to me was there's a bit where he meets up with Will meets up with a bard, a halfling bard, and she's performing, and she's got basically a sort of a string bow and a string instrument and a bow to play it with, sort of vaguely violinish, fiddleish.
Yeah.
So you hear the thing playing. The bow is not moving at all. Nothing's moving except her lip flaps.
And it's okay. I understand these are cost-saving measures that one does when that one does. These are to these are things that were pioneered by Japan. They're coming up into anime, and is not an uncommon practice.
Yep.
This would have been egregious in the 90s during the Great Recession.
Yeah.
Or during Japan's Great Recession.
It was bad.
Like the number of like even special effects that you can see, like reused frames in the same scene.
Yeah.
Like the sort of shit you'd get in the old cartoons.
Yep.
Where they're running down, like literally Scooby Doo. They're running down the corridor. Cut away to them talking. They're running down the same corridor. Or the really obvious 2-3 frame cycles to look like an effect. I can't even remember what it was that was really egregious, but there was one.
There was a fountain
Fountain. That was it. Yes.
Yeah.
It was a water effect where it was basically to make it look like water was moving. It was literally 2 frames back and forth.
Yep.
And it wasn't even really that particularly well drawn because it had right angle corners in the water.
Yeah, it was. It looked like it
was badly spliced in.
Yeah.
It was very badly spliced.
Very badly.
So we would need to get this animation comment out of the way because like it needs to be said. The animation
we complained about Kuroko, but at the very least, Kuroko had those moments where it went, you know what? Here's why we saved the budget on the animation in those bits that didn't really matter. This just didn't. It literally goes from episode 4, so start of episode 5. There is a distinct difference in the complete quality of the show until episode 12.
Yep.
Even during the action scenes.
Yeah, which are not like it. Yeah.
And I'd forgive some of this if it was clear that they were saving their budget for when it mattered. They were not saving their budget for when it mattered.
There were the action scenes where there's no really big sort of like Sakuga fests. There was no.
Like every
there were some okay action
like,
scenes.
Every action scene was like you got a still image of Will doing some kind of cool slashing motion, completely still photo with the screen panning across it, and a slash trail over what he's just cut and a sound effect.
Yeah, for the most part,
every fight.
There was one battle that was decently animated and was, for the most part, well storyboarded. There's a fight that Will and his elf friend Menelor, they're fighting against a manticore. And that fight is okay. It's fine. I will not describe it as anything more than that, unfortunately.
Yeah. It's... So, longtime listeners will remember me ranting about Kuroko no Basketball.
Yep.
This made me miss Kuroko no Basketball.
Yeah. At least Kuroko had 10 to 15 second basketball scenes that were well animated.
Yeah, pretty much.
Spliced with a slideshow.
Yeah.
This was just slideshow. Like the number of scenes, I think I counted at one point there was a 30-second. I started counting. There was at least 30 seconds where there was literally nothing that could be described as animation.
Yeah.
It was a conversation. I think there might have been maybe 1 or 2 lip flap movements, but they did it where it was 2 characters talking, and the shots kept panning from. Like either too far away for you to be able to notice their lip flaps, or the person speaking they're facing each other, so the camera was over the shoulder of the person doing the speaking, so you can only see the back of their head, and vice versa, back and forth.
Yep.
It was a good 30 seconds or so at least, with nothing that could actually be described as animation.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the big down part of this series. At least the first 12 episodes, which is what we're covering.
Yes.
Yeah.
Season 1. Other than that, the writing, like the story from that point on, Will meets Menelor in the woods. They eventually, he eventually gets a vision of a village being attacked, and looks like Menelor's involved and in trouble. Finds out that Menelor is leading the raid on the village because he's from another village that was basically wiped out by demons, and they're desperate to look for food. Will stops them cold because Will is broken.
Yeah, it turns out that all this training that he's had is not just like prepared him for the world. He's literally a monster.
Yeah, he's terrifyingly good at his job.
Yeah.
He not only terrifyingly good, but the fact that he's like elite warrior level, but also elite caster level at the same time. People are like, "Wait, what do you mean you can cast? You've got magic. You're a warrior, clearly, aren't you?" Well, yes.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
Also, a
But you
priest.
just-
Yes, also, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
But you're a master swordsman. Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
You're 15.
Yeah. And like, and as Peter said, he's also a priest, so he can banish the undead.
Yeah.
Like they're literally saying, you know, okay, there's like this pack of demons. Like they killed half a village, and I couldn't even scratch them. Was like, yeah, cool.
Oh yeah, I know
Oh,
that
the-
type of demon. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
not that big a deal.
I'll go take him
No.
out. The fuck? So basically, you know, Will also has a bunch of money from Gus, so he basically pays reparations to the village on behalf of the other villagers.
Yeah.
Because he really is like, yeah, they're all gonna get hung, and I understand why they're gonna have nice youth, because you know it's bad. What they did was bad, and they can't let that go forward. However, this feels like I should do something. I promised Gracefield to try to bring light to the world and make things better. Okay, maybe we could pay reparations, and like, would that be cool? And the villagers are like, I guess, but how can they pay them? Well, I'll pay them pay for them. You got that? What kind of how much money? Oh my god! Okay, sure, kid.
You know, now that I think about it, Will's kind of a bit of a Gary Stu.
Oh god, yes.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
He's ultra powerful, ultra nice. Everyone likes him. He's completely loaded, so never has money troubles.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely.
Gets bread and water delivered to him via prayer on a daily basis.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, he does have the sort of the dooming doom of the doomed Eldar about him at this point.
Yeah, he does have the
Well,
dooming doom of the doomed Eldar,
Good Lord, he
including having a love interest that is an elf.
Yep.
You'll never
Yeah.
convince me those two are not going to bang.
They are definitely This is what I meant earlier when I was joking
It's
about the
it is
Yaoi
it is at best yaoi bait.
relationship. Yeah, they are relationship coded to the.
So my god,
you know.
yes.
Meneldor is now like you often mention, you know, the best elf in anime. Meneldor is like the third best best elf girl in anime, and he's a dude.
I mean,
Just on the basis of his character design.
absolutely not, because you've got Deedlit and Freerun
Rerun.
and I don't know, some other elves. I don't know. I don't like elves. I don't pay attention to them, but I know he's not the third
But
best.
what I'm saying here is that like, and I was questioning at one point, but then I realized it probably was intended to be this. But Meneldor is so like in design is so female coded.
In a lot of ways.
Like to the point where the majority of the time he's wearing lingerie.
I mean, not quite. The dude has bloomers.
Yeah, he's wearing bloomers.
No,
Dude wears
and the
bloomers
top-
and
and the top.
thigh-high boots.
And the top that he's wearing is basically it's not a teddy as such, but it's kind of like a
It's sort of like a corset / teddy combination.
yeah.
Slightly
when
more
it- but then
masculine.
when he's-
that he would
then
not
when
be
he's-
out of place in like a penny.
Moulin Rouge.
Yeah, he would not look out of
fit
place
in
in a penny.
Moulin Rouge. But my point is obviously then when he's out and about doing his hunting thing, he just puts a simple coat over the top and looks, you know, it's fine, you know, masculine coded kind of sort of situation. But they
Yeah,
even,
there's
like,
a lot that is masculine coded about him.
Well,
Much
that's
of
the
his
thing,
personality is pretty heavily masculine
Oh,
coded.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
Um,
say. So they put they hang a lampshade on it quite a lot. Like the number of times where like the bard is writing a song about them, and Meneldor's like, if you carry on saying things like that, people are gonna think I am actually a girl. And the bard is like, yeah, cool, you could be his girlfriend. It's like, the fuck I can.
I mean, he's gonna be his boyfriend, obviously.
Listen, Bill is my girlfriend. That's how it works.
I mean, Will at one point, like they're sitting together, like sitting on top of a tower, looking at after a big feast or something like that, and Will
Mhm.
offhandedly comments about how good looking Meneldor is.
Yeah,
I think he says pretty.
Yeah, he's like, I remember the scene. He was like, why did you end up out here? And he's like, well, it was raiding and doing all this stuff. He goes, well, it was either that or whoring my body out in one of the cities. And Will's like, well, you do have a pretty face. Like,
I mean, and again, this is not a complaint in any way, shape, or form.
no.
I kind of wish they leaned into it like more.
Yeah,
fucking
like I say, it feels like bait without committing. If that's the that's the problem with it. It's like
it feels like cowardness, honestly.
Yeah.
It feels like fucking cowardness.
This is what I meant earlier. Like I say, I know I have a habit of saying things without engaging brain and sounding like I'm actually trying to make some sort of political point. But no, I'm all for either way. But it's like, don't put the tag on the show if you're not gonna do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's yaoi bait. As we said earlier, it's yaoi bait.
It's yaoi bait. And
I would love it if they leaned into it. Like, go for boys' love if you want to. That's cool. That's your decision.
Season 2, but for season 1, it's like, here's all the signs, big neon with flashing light bulbs, but we're not gonna do it.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Now it may just be it's too early in their relationship to do it. That fine.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, the big conclusion of season 1 is it was Meneldor finally admitting, fine, we're friends.
Yeah.
Because he's stoic loner elf.
Because he is the king of Tsundere.
He is so tsundere.
Imagine Zorro, but even bishier. He's that. He's the no, we're not friends. Go away. Fine, we're friends. I will die for you. All right, calm down.
I mean, like it basically. So the long and short is, like, there's a whole bunch of stuff that we're not. I don't think we're gonna hit all the plot. The writing of the show is solid, not great, but solid.
The only problem, and again, I don't want to harp on the negative. The only other problem about it is there is a lot of tell don't show.
Yes, there is.
Yeah,
there is a lot of exposition, or like telling us they're gonna do things and then doing it all off screen.
Yeah,
at the end, at the conclusion of the village arc. They state that, the village now, to rebuild, they need to go get horses and cattle and stuff. The demons absolutely ravaged they need supplies, but they have no money because they were robbed by the demons.
Except for Will has money, but let's not get into that.
Well, yeah. Cool. Well, how about we go raid a dungeon? There's a dungeon nearby. Let's go raid that and then share the spoils, and the town will be rich again. Cool. Next scene is them literally walking back saying, wow, that was a tough dungeon.
I mean... Yeah, and this is all obvious money-saving stuff.
Yeah.
Clearly,
I think it's also a bit of time-saving stuff, because I do think that I would not be surprised if this is something that happened, that they actually went into more detail in the light novels, and they cut it for the anime to get it into 12 episodes.
Yeah. My issue with it is like there are certain things that they include and tell us about and tee up with just nothing more than a voice line.
Yeah, no, I agree.
That if they'd have left out, wouldn't have been a problem. Like the bit you mentioned there when they were sitting on the top of the tower. Meneldor tells Will, just be careful if you go that way. That's literally like a city of the undead. There's nothing but undead there. It's a real problem. It's a bit of a nest, really. And Will's like, oh, well, I'm a priest. I should go clear that out. I'll go do that tomorrow. Seriously? Yeah. Fine. Well, I guess I'll come with you. Do we see this? Do they ever go there? No.
We don't know. We don't
Why
know
did you bring it up?
I don't know. I think it was part of a dialogue scene in the light novels, and that they eventually get to it in the light novels. My gut feel.
Maybe, but
I don't know. But so they eventually do get to the big trade city, and they meet the bard and a merchant on the way. And the bard and the merchant are both likable characters. So most of the characters are very likable. Like really well done, and either likable or interesting.
Yes. Unfortunately, the problem with it is, again, it's obvious what they are. The bard is exposition. She reveals basically what's going to happen, or at least important plot points through all of the air quotes. I'm not even using my fingers, I'm using my arms. Songs.
Yeah, she doesn't sing so much as talk while she plays the violin.
Yeah. She just literally tells you the plot and what's going to happen going forward.
I almost really kind of wish she was more of a rakugo than a bard.
Mm-hmm.
The Japanese storytellers who do the thing Vermont. That would work better. I mean, bards can be storytellers and just talk and not sing. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess you could do that and play an instrument alongside it. It just felt really freaking weird.
Nothing she says scans. It doesn't work. None of it works as a
It's
song.
all prose. It's all prose.
It's all just prose. Yeah.
But at any rate, so they meet them on the way.
Although props to them, an actual halfling in Japanese anime,
which is very rare.
Yeah.
And she's likable.
Yeah.
Very friendly, and she's a halfling bard. She's what
Yeah.
what you would expect from a halfling bard.
Yeah.
And the
I mean, the
merchant
real
seems like a
problem-
nice dude.
Yeah. The merchant seems like a nice dude, if a little bland.
Yeah, he's
The real problem is that there are no orcs or goblins anywhere in the party. It's two humans, an elf, and a halfling. Like, could you get any more boring?
This is Japan, Eric. You don't get to be a monster in
Japan
Japan.
has orcs and goblins.
but rarely in the
Yes, they have
parties.
Oni. Yeah,
But
they
almost
do.
never in the
I've seen-
party.
I have seen I've seen Slime Diaries.
Yes, and that is the all monster party. You're allowed to do that.
Yes. I'm just saying everything's better with orcs and goblins
Fair enough.
and the occasional troll.
At any rate, they
Maybe
get to
an
the city. Will goes to the temple to introduce himself. Finds out there's no real priest of Gracefield there because, duh.
Yeah.
And like there's no one really to like. He basically, I'm a priest of Gracefield, and they're all like, "Well,
Yeah,
that's
right.
nice, but it's kind of hard to prove." Like, she's not a very followed god, so you could just be someone lying about that and trying to get to do mean things. And the person who can check to see if you actually have a blessing is kind of not available right now, so you have to wait. And Will's like, I guess, because Will's kind of a pushover that way. And then the bishop strides in, and the bishop seems like your classic corrupt bishop of jackassery from the get go.
Mm-hmm.
He's great.
I actually really like the bishop.
Because it turns out he deals with corruption. Like, he realized that his position as the head bishop means that he has to be a little bit grimy at times. But he's still a devout actual priest. And is actually a good dude at his core.
Yeah.
He's a really interesting character. I really hope we get to see more of him in season 2.
He takes the position and the the one thing he met that stands out about him that Will notices that all that's mentioned about him is that he never seems to use
His
the blessing that he's been given. You know, the power of the gods have bestowed upon him, like Will does. You know, and the thing that turns him around is like Will's being held up that they can't get anyone to test him and go through the spell that tests his divinity. And the bishop comes out and literally starts asking him, so all right, so okay, Gracefield, sure. What did you pledge her? Then Will explains. Okay. And what does she represent to you? Explains it. Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah, he says something about,
make sure you get him. Make sure he signs the book. Make sure he's registered.
Because he like points out, like, she's about, there can be no light without dark, and there can be no, etc. And the dude's like, oh shit, no, he actually knows this. He knows his shit. Okay,
he knows his shit. Yeah, he's legit. And the guy in the church is like, but we haven't done the thing. Did I fucking stutter?
I'm telling you, this kid's the right is legit.
Yeah,
because nobody says that shit.
Yes,
unless they actually know what they're talking about.
Yeah, somebody who just uses Gracefield as a keyword kind of situation to get into a position, because I think they're worried about cults, basically.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
They're worried about cults and shysters.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like no, this guy knows his shit. He's a legitimate priest of Gracefield.
And so, like, a monster attack city, it's a wyvern. Will and Menel defeat it.
Yeah.
Will gradually grappling around the neck and snapping its neck.
Yeah.
Yes. So basically, this dude, a priest, apparently, on top of the church, firing lightning bolts at the bastard, and then literally wrings its neck like a chicken. just bear hugs its throat. This is a full-grown wyvern, and this dude bear hugs its throat and chokes it the fuck out.
This is to be fair, much more of a dragon than you would expect of a wyvern. For
this guy picked his stats and set them all real high.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a dragon. It's got a breath weapon.
18s in every category.
Yeah. I don't know if he's got 18 in intelligence. Int and wisdom might not be quite as high.
Yeah.
They're not like low. They're just not like.
Fine, he can dump stat them. It's only 16.
Yeah.
But at any rate, so this gets the attention of the prince of the city, whom is like, okay, well, so there's a problem here. I have to like reward you for something for doing this. And Will's like, well, all I really want is to be able to help the village back over there. And there are monsters there. Can I like maybe like can you like send some troops to help? I don't really have enough troops to do that. We're kind of spread thin. Oh, okay. Well, it'd be all right if I recruit adventurers then to go back and deal with that. You do realize that by recruiting a military force, you sort of are putting me in a really tough position, right, kid? Oh,
Yeah, you're basically becoming a paramilitary operating. In
and
Yeah,
sorry, go ahead, Eric.
No, it's like, listen, you just said that you're here to recruit armed forces to go stomping around my backyard. That is potentially really bad. It would be the smart thing would be to kill you now.
And Metal's like, the fuck you say, kid, Princey boy.
Well, Metal doesn't actually say anything.
No, he doesn't. He just sort of like
yeah.
tenses up and looks at him like, might have to kill the prince.
They're gonna have to kill this guy, Bill. Oh, dang.
At which point the bishop shows up and is like, the fuck is going on here? Why are you talking to him without going through me first? He's part of my, he works for me. And the prince is like, well, I'm the prince. And the prince comes like, my actual plan was actually maybe make him a knight. And the bishop's like, but, the bishop gets very frustrated with this because A, it pulls Will away from the church, and B, it puts even more sort of like responsibility on this 15-year-old kid than he already has by being a priest of goddamn Gracefield. But he gets knighted, and he's now he's a paladin officially, and he goes off and they recruit some adventurers and go fight some demons. And there's a big fight that's a trap against the demons, and this is where Will has his first setback.
Yeah.
Because Metal nearly dies.
Yeah.
For however long we've been going, this is literally the first thing that hasn't gone Will's way.
Well, second thing, it almost goes really badly with Stagnate, if you remember.
Almost.
Yeah.
And Will doesn't know what to do. Like, the adventurers are getting their asses kicked. Metal is dying. So Will pulls out the do not use this sword and lays waste to the demons. And the most powerful adventurers he hired, who's, I forget the guy's name, but it's something other than the Penetrator.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a name that's going to stick with. That's an epithet that's going to stick with me.
Is a fucking walking meme.
God, he looks like a cross between Jon Snow and Aragorn.
He really does.
Restov the Penetrator.
Yeah, that's it.
He's this stoic, like, I've seen everything, so nothing excites me anymore. You're going to fight an entire army by yourself of really high-level demons? I'm in.
Yeah.
That kind of guy.
Yep.
Who has a habit, apparently, of kill stealing, we get told.
Yeah.
And later see, he's just fucking hilarious.
Well, he just sort of shows, he tends to just sort of show up at the boss of whatever they're fighting and stabs it and it dies.
Yes. Yeah. One stab man.
Yes. But yeah, so Will sort of freaks out. Ristov eventually is the one who calms Will down, and it's like, dude, they're gone. You don't have to keep going. Settle down. Heal Menel. He's dying. Oh. And so Will has this crisis of confidence, overhears people calling him a monster outside, and how doomed Menel is for hanging around with him.
Yeah.
And so Will, and this is where his backstory comes back into it again as a a loser from the real world. He's like, well, maybe they're right. Maybe I'm a monster. Maybe I should go off and do these things all on my own and make sure I don't get anybody else hurt around me because I'm too strong. I'm forcing people to hang around me. And I'm
being arrogant by expecting Menel to be my level. Okay.
The insulting goddamn fucking hubris of this entire thing that he's going through.
It's frustrating. It would be much worse if you don't know where Will originally is coming from. It's this weird clash between knowing how powerful he is and his utter lack of self-confidence, especially socially.
Mm-hmm. Like
yeah,
I said,
it's
I
still
wouldn't.
just
So,
Oh no,
I wouldn't-
it is absolutely hubris, Eric. You are absolutely correct.
Yeah.
cringe-inducing
I wouldn't mind
of
so
the
much,
highest
it's like-
level.
Like like you said though, this is like the second time we've seen him have any sort of setback, and the first time it was almost a setback until his resolve kicked in and he went and did the right thing. This time, somebody's got hurt. They're going to be fine, but somebody's got hurt in the party that it was in. Full fucking emo.
But to be fair, it's his only friend. I'm being as fair as I can possibly be to this. It's not
Yeah.
like not an excuse. It's like it's his only friend. It's the only friend he's ever had. And and he doesn't think that Mendel actually thinks he's his friend either. Is the other thing.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, Mendel keeps pushing it off. Like, I'm forcing this on him. And Mendel basically,
yeah.
he heals Mendel's eyes were injured, and he finishes healing him and goes off. And Mendel's like, the fuck? No. I know what Will's doing. No. The fuck you're going off on your own, Will.
I mean,
And
it's
they
not
get
like
into a fight.
it's not
They have their
yeah,
first
it's not like you
argument
can
as
stop
friends.
me. Will is literally walking around saying, like moping, slow, steady plod, ignoring everyone. Mendel confronts him and he's like, "You're not going off alone." And he's literally like, "Well, you can't stop me. You're not on my level. Go away. Go heal. I'll deal with this by myself." Okay, fine.
So they actually get into a fight, and
Would you like a trip to Hot Topic on the way?
And Will basically Mendel won't stay down. Fine. I don't want to seriously injure. I don't want to kill him. Obviously, maybe if I just break an arm, and he does that. And Mendel's like, okay, that fucking sucks, but I'm not giving up on you, Will. And basically aims at sort of, he's got the ability to communicate with fairies and nature spirits and such. He aims an elemental attack at Will, and Will's like, aha, well, I'll just dodge out of the way. Wait. He's right behind. It'll hit him if it. Oh, you fucker. Well, that's not what he's thinking. He's like, oh,
Yeah.
I can't dodge because if I dodge, it'll hit Mendel. And that's Mendel's. Obviously, Mendel's plan. Oh. He knows me better than I think. He knows me pretty well, doesn't he? And he gets smacked. And basically, Mendel actually manages to talk him down. And Will's like, okay, yeah, I was being an idiot. Sorry.
I'm sorry, I just can't forgive Will for this staggering idiocy. The complete lack of belief in his friend's own agency. Just
oh no, I'm not. I get what you're saying, Eric. Completely. I mostly agree with you. I'm just saying. I'm explaining what happened, not whether I agree with it or not.
Yeah.
I also feel like it's just bad writing.
It's not great.
Even accepting his traumatized background from his previous life, blah 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 blah. It's just bad writing and artificial conflict, and it was the absolute low point in the series for me.
Sure, I don't doubt it.
Including the fucking let's just stare at a drawing of a halfling while she apparently talks and sings.
But no, even like you say, it's got to the point where I don't want you to get hurt. You shouldn't follow me. Breaks his arm.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. No, it is some supremely edgelord bullshit. I agree. It's stupid. I wish it was less realistic than it is, because I've met people who are like that, and they suck. They're not people I hang around with. But it happens.
Yeah. It's just the complete over the top personality swing.
Yeah. It usually takes more time too. Also, let me just be real.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
But this is just sort of I get what they're trying to do, and they're not doing it well. Is my point is.
Yeah. It goes from literally one day Will is stupidly hopeful, confident, everything's gonna go our way kind of thing. Next day, breaking my best friend's arm, emo. Next day, back to normal. I mean, I know there's days in between, but they're healing and unconscious in between. So it's literally, as far as they're concerned, in consciousness-wise, it's been about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's just.
It's frustrating because I like the characters most of the rest of the time.
Yeah.
Literally, I wish that they just left this episode out and had Will realize that he was getting overconfident. That's all it needed.
Well, no,
He didn't-
I honestly don't know
legitimately,
how it made out of the first draft.
I can legitimately, I could have accepted, like, if the rationale between, like, Will deciding to go off and do it on his own is a perfectly valid writing decision to make.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the reasoning
that I
behind it
grok.
that's the problem.
Yeah. All you had to do is change it around, okay? So you have Menel try to reason with Will, saying, "Look, I you know, the whole, like, I'm down with with the mission. I'm down with everything. You have to realize that you are a kind of a monster in comparison. Like, I'm doing my best. I will be on your level one day. I'm not there yet. And you walked us straight into a trap. Like, you got overconfident. So all you need is to have Will go off and do a little bit of soul searching, realizing, yeah, that was right. I'm getting stupid. Blood taught me better than this.
Yeah, there are a lot of things, ways you can do it, but, like, again, like,
and breaking your friend's arm.
that scene was dumb. I'm not going to argue against that. I'm just.
There's reasonable ways of doing this, but they just chose the overly dramatic version.
Yeah, and again, it might have worked better. It might have been better handled in the light novel and with more text to work with.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what this scene looked like in the light novel. I can't.
I don't know how it made out of the first draft. I mean, even in the light novel.
I don't know.
Like,
I don't know what it looks like in the light novel. My gut feeling is, if it's anything like this, it would not have been good there either. I agree. I'm not trying to say you're wrong, because you're very much right, Eric. But yeah, and that's sort of roughly, like, after this whole thing, and this is when Will and they basically they go off to deal with the demons again, and Will and Menel confront the Manticore and beat the Manticore this time. By the way, the Manticore that nearly killed Menel was the Manticore. It was the monster that nearly killed Menel was the Manticore.
Yeah,
didn't mention that.
But this time they approached it with a plan.
Chimera, not the.
You're right. It's a chimera, not a Manticore.
Sorry,
You're right. It's a chimera.
But no, they approach it with a plan, with knowledge. They're not ambushed. They know what they're dealing with. They know that Will accepts that they're not on equal levels, but Menel adds an element that he can't and does things that he can't.
Yep.
So he takes the lead. Menel supports as it is warranted. And again, this is where the animation budget kicks back in. Thankfully,
a little bit.
We get a little bit. We get a decent.
This is the
fight.
scene I was talking about, by the way, not the Manticore.
Yeah. It's an okay scene.
Yeah.
We get a decent fight, and then as they move in to confront the actual big bad boss, he's already dead because Restov's got to him.
Yeah. Which was funny. That was legitimately funny.
That was funny. They're like, "Oh right, we're the first here. We did it," and then Restov's there with a knife in his hand, saying,
He's like literally just stabbed the thing. It's like cleaning his knife. He's like, oh man.
Yeah. That's one of those funny. I would like to see that as a running joke. That's actually kind of funny.
That was legitimately a good gag.
Yeah.
And so after that, Menel and Will are talking. Menel started pointing out. So, what are your actual goals at this point? What do you mean? What are you trying to become, like, Lord of this area? No. Why would you say that? Well, you effectively kind of are. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Well, you've arranged for
all I did was I killed all the demons and brought in all these resources for the towns and arbitrate all their
disputes.
So shit, I'm in charge.
Yeah, so it turns out they reveal that basically the demons, this goes back to the demon seal, so the demon lord. So basically the demons were trying to destabilize the area, push the humans out, and for the last couple of 100 years, the city that they are now based out of is the furthest south that the human empire went. They couldn't go any further because of the demons. And now Will is clearing out all the demons. So humans are going to be able to start moving south. The Demon Lord seal will get stronger, blah, blah, blah. It's all part of the plan. But yeah, because there's no humans there other than a couple of small villages. It's like, yeah, Will's brought you... Well, you've brought in Tonio, the trader, the salesman that they met and was working with, and he's basically in charge of all your money, right? You're the richest guy in the area. Well, yeah, and you're funding him, who is basically, whenever anybody wants to do any trade or get any resources, they're going through him, right? Well, yeah, so they're going through you, right?
I guess.
I guess, right? And you're arbitrating between all the villages whenever they have a dispute. So you're basically being like the judge and lord of the land. I mean, only because like I'm the strongest and they respect me because I've helped them out, right? But you're arbitrating between them because they're seceding to your opinion and your ruling.
Oh, fuck, I'm
I
in
don't want to
charge.
be in charge.
I don't want that. Tough luck, kid.
Yep.
It's kind of in my purview as for part of the deal I made with Gracefield too, though, is a thing. God damn it.
Mhm.
Oh,
Oh, well, I guess I'll do the best I can. And that's roughly where the season ends.
That's where we go into season
Yeah.
2. Yeah.
And yeah. So I guess I mean there's a lot to like about the show, and there's a lot to go for crying out loud.
Yeah.
this show is the avatar of wasted potential.
There's so much potential. It could have been so much better. I agree completely. Like the art, as you mentioned, is good.
I really want to like this show, and
Yeah.
there's like I said, there's a lot of potential here, and so much of it is hamstrung by bad writing decisions and garbage animation.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe they had a crap budget. Maybe they were doing this on like $5 in a sandwich. Then the sandwich had to be split between all the animators. Given what I understand about Japan, it probably was. But
Yeah.
there's just a lot of potential, and I wish it could have lived up to even a little bit of it, because the potential shines through despite all of my problems with
right.
it.
Legitimately.
Like, I can't hate the show. I can't not recommend it. I just know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
This isn't a Killing Bites type situation.
No, God, no. It's not even a Kuroko no basketball. This is like if you had all like fantasy, give it a shot. Like there's some good ideas there. There's good ideas in it.
Yeah.
There are likable characters in it. The art is pretty. The music's good. I wish it was animated. And I wish the actual like the moment to moment writing was better.
Yeah.
The world building is fantastic.
The world building's great. Honestly, most of the time the writing is interesting. Like the character writing makes sense. Not counting the one we dragged on for 20 minutes. There are other writing decisions that feel like they could have used another pass or two.
Yep.
But like nothing as egregious. And like I said, there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah. Oh my god, the animation though, real like that one scene and the animation, like
yeah.
Oh, so, like the animation is okay in the first few episodes, but it really takes a real step down.
Yeah.
The really funny thing is, like when we're watching it, all three of us were saying, like, basically saying we remembered when we started watching it, we were doing it before we started picked it as a series. That we remembered liking the animation more then than we do now, and I'm not sure why. Because like I'm struggling. Like it may have just been the first 4 episodes were solid. We did the first 5, I think, before we stopped watching it.
The first 4 episodes were solid. Like it wasn't without its flaws, but it was like, okay, this is fine for a moderately budgeted show.
And the art was good.
Yeah. But so many buts.
Oh my god. So I guess, I mean, we can go into final thoughts here, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's against me, then Eric, then Gab. It's Gab's pick. As I said, I overall like I'm in Eric's boat. Like I want to like the show more than I do. I think it's good. I like it. Sorry, good is not the right word. I enjoyed most of the time watching it. But I'll admit there were periods of time where I just sort of like I found my attention wandering a little bit. And the animation was just like, God, the animation is just so bad. Like, it's not even bad. It's non-existent for a large portion of the show. Like, as Eric said, like this is a cost-saving measure that a lot of anime will do. but usually there's something to pay off for it, and there isn't in the animation. And the writing is good for large chunks of the show, and like character writing is very good for large chunks of the show, but like it misses steps, and like it recovers like after the really bad character bit that we were talking about, like it recovers, and the characters are back to being likable and interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like there's just one clunker of a scene. It's like ka-chunk.
Yeah.
Well, we can't not talk about this in a bad way. Overall, it's definitely worth checking out. Like, and maybe like and if you're more forgiving of limited animation than we are, that'll help. Especially if you like. Again, the art's good. So, but yeah, I want to like it more than I do. I normally the one who starts like I wish I could like the dialogue is overall fine.
Yeah.
I like a lot of this. I like a lot of the dialogue between Will and Menel. Like they play off each other pretty well. Yeah, I don't know. Overall, it's fine. It's worth checking out, but like, don't go into it with high expectations. Is sort of my recommendation. Like,
yeah,
that's sort of my thought. Eric,
I said it before. I'll say it again. It is a lot of wasted potential. It's like I seriously wonder as the budget for the show, and if it did have a budget like of any of even a tiny budget, like how much of it just went into someone's pocket and not into the actual show? Because it's after the first 4 episodes, which were good but not outstanding animation, it becomes a slideshow. The writing becomes much more tell don't show, and certain ideas certain plot points get glossed over or expanded upon more than need to be, or certain just general decisions are not as good. Like the script needed another pass or two. Like this all reeks of not enough budget to do much of anything. And I wish it had a budget because, like I said, there's the core of the thing is great. Like the world building's there, the characters are cool, except for the elf because they're an elf. That's not their fault. They're just an elf. And it's just I can't not recommend the show. I can't can't just shit on it, but I can be annoyed that it wasn't better than it was. I can be very annoyed that it wasn't better than it was. Like, yeah, I want the show to be better than it was. That's what I'm saying. That's
yeah, that's
my
fair.
review.
Yeah. I think what they've said he basically sums it up. There's a lot of potential here, and a lot of there are little nuggets shining through. Like the art style is great, the animation is not. The writing, the character work is, I think, pretty great. Some of the writing decisions are not. It's like there's clearly something here, but it's just been mismanaged essentially. The animation was fine in those first 4 episodes. Where did that go? There's a clear choice there to dial it back, or to dial it up, I suppose, for the first episode, and then go back to what we can provide on a normal basis. All the tell don't show that goes on in it, and just some of the. Yeah, like I say, it's up there, but there's just enough to rankle, There's just enough to point out and spoil it, if you know what I mean. Like I was taken out of it just laughing because, like I said, I realized how, and I'm surprised it took me that long, but realized just how busted and overpowered Will really is when he's there choking the fuck out of a dragon.
Yeah,
I get it. He's a magically trained sorcerer, warrior, wizard, priest, everything. I get that. It's from his his upbringing, literally on his own, no distractions from 3 masters of their crafts, all funneling their knowledge into him. Fair enough, I get that. But this is a human kid. And fair enough, blood might have trained him to in combat and all the rest of it. But when the fuck did he get the muscle to choke out a dragon?
Yeah.
Like
if they started casting a buff spell on himself before that, that'd be one thing.
Yeah.
Anything like that. But no, he's just barehanded, oh well, I can't shoot it down with magic. I've pissed it off though, and it's come down to fight me. It's about to kill people, so it's about to breathe fire on people, so I'm just gonna choke it out like a bitch.
I mean, part of what he was doing with blood was strength training, but no.
You don't. Like I said, there's no feasible way why he's gone beyond human fucking exception, especially as a 15-year-old kid.
Especially as a 15-year-old kid that skinny.
He's a skinny fucking waif as well.
If he was built like Jack, if he was built like Jack Reacher or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he was 6'3" and 280 pounds of muscle, sure.
He was built like blood.
Right.
Like we see blood in the past with his flesh form, and he was built like blood.
Or even if he was taller and you could see he had wiry strength or something, but he just looks like a kid.
Yeah. Especially his primary weapon of choice is
a
spear and shield. So he's not even particularly big because it's an agility weapon in a lot of ways that he uses.
Yeah. I don't know.
But, like I say again, that's going on a tangent, but that's what I mean though. There's little things that weren't thought about that are just enough to take you out of the story.
Yeah, it comes back to the writing.
Yeah,
is the issue.
Now, I mean, I will say, oftentimes, I'm more forgiving of. I would be more forgiving of that sort of visual discrepancy in anime because it happens a fair bit.
Mm-hmm.
But it's extreme in Will's case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because his build is almost identical to Menel's.
Yeah. And he is absolute, like I say, it's pure Gary Stu syndrome.
Oh yeah, no, it is.
Yeah. I mean, good God, it's a good job that he actually wrote him as a male character, because God knows the uproar if he was this powerful as a woman.
Yeah. And the thing is, Gary Sue and Mary Sue's can be fine. That can it can work fine.
Yes.
And it mostly does in this show, honestly. Mostly.
It mostly does. It's just little elements.
It has moments where you're oh, come on.
He's choking out a dragon. Or everyone in his party thinks he's a monster and far more powerful than them and on a completely different level than anyone they've ever met.
And they're kind of right. But
They kind of are, but yeah.
Anywho.
But it should be down to, he's that powerful because of the myriad of skill sets that he's got. Not because he's this physical beast, which he isn't.
But apparently he is, so I don't know.
But apparently he is, so.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways,
like I say, just to finish off, go into it. It's a perfectly fine fantasy show.
Yeah.
The first 4 episodes are great. In fact, incredible. The whole stagnate arc is great. I really like that. Just be aware that obviously going forward after that, there's going to be things that might be
less than
disagreeable.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah. Overall, this is a you should watch it show. You should get a chance show, not a high recommendation from any of us.
Yeah.
Sideways thumb, neither up nor down.
Yeah, it's fine. It is fine out of 10.
Yes.
I would say it is not quite fine out of 10. I would say it is more needs improvement out of 10.
That's fair.
Must try harder out of 10.
Yeah, sure. Oh God. Incomplete out of 10.
Yes.
Yeah.
At any rate,
this is a great joke. It reminds me. My friend at work got me a get better soon card.
Yeah.
I wasn't ill. He just wanted me to do better.
Yeah.
Honestly, I want to audit this show's budget. Where did all that money go?
So at any rate, out of curiosity, I closed the Wikipedia tab.
Yeah, who is responsible for this one?
Yeah. I'm genuinely curious now. What studio did this? It is Sunrise Beyond.
Okay, so
That's
Sunrise
season 2.
Joint.
Season 1
This is
was
Children's Playground Entertainment, whom I've never heard of.
No. Owned by Billy. Okay.
Oh, okay. It's owned by Billy. Okay,
What's Billy?
that's the Chinese streaming service.
Chinese YouTube.
Oh,
Chinese YouTube, yeah.
okay. That
actually
explains
explains a fuck ton.
explains a lot about where
They've
the
not
budget
really
went.
done
Okay.
a lot of other
So
things.
no,
either.
it's not it's a Japanese studio, but it's owned by Billy.
It's
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
It is.
We've been too harsh on this show.
No, we haven't. Billy.
No, we haven't.
No, we haven't.
No, we haven't.
We really
This
haven't.
was,
It deserves this.
Yeah.
This was a High Guardian Spice type of situation. Gotcha. And given that knowledge, I'm actually impressed that it came out as well as it did.
At least the writing was mostly coherent.
Yeah.
At any rate, so that's going to do it for this episode, folks. That's going to do it for this episode, folks. We'll be back when we finish the next series, which, oh god, I got to pick that.
Yep.
I've got it narrowed down to between those Snow White Notes and Shangri-La Frontier. I haven't decided between the two of them yet, but I've narrowed down even further than before we started recording.
Yeah, we have an idea. We have a direction.
It's one of those. It'll be one of those two shows. Either a show about somebody who's trying to find his way through being a Shamisen player, or about a dude playing video games, a dive MMO.
Such a rare genre.
Oh, it absolutely is. Anyways, that's going to do it this time, folks. Thank you for watching, everybody. Hope you had fun. We'll see you all next time, whenever that happens to be. Bye, everybody.
Bye.